All right, so the Gemini child. So Gemini is ruled by Mercury, which is associated with communication, ideas, learning, things like that. And so already you're thinking of a child who's probably very much a learner, someone who loves to talk, communicate in some way. And you can see that a lot in Gemini children. They love to learn. Some might even be self-learners. So like a lot of Gemini children don't wait just for school to learn. They might research things on their own. They might know like random facts about things, and oh wait, isn't that or hey, I have a question. Like those type of children, they want to know more, which is very interesting because I feel like all the mutable signs kind of have that same dynamic going on where they want to know more, right? Or they know random facts. Okay, like Gemini, Sagittarius, Virgo, Pisces, all signs that kind of know random facts, random information. The difference is like what they do with the information, right? So like Pisces and Virgo, your feminine signs of those mutable signs, internalize it or just know it and try to put it to their own use or creativity or whatever. Whereas Sagittarius and Gemini, the masculine signs of that, bring it forth. Okay, so anyway, this is about Gemini. Gemini child is typically not very shy. Some of them can be. Now, again, you have to look at the whole chart. If you have like, a chart that shows that you have placements and signs, which means you're more reserved, or your early life, especially if you look at someone's third house, their third house is going to give a lot of insight to how they were as a child. And so this could be a person who maybe has Saturn in their third house as a Gemini child, might not be as outgoing as the other ones. Whereas if they have the sun in their third house, they're going to be really talkative and outgoing, most likely, because Geminis also can be very sociable. They like to get to know people. When they go to a party, a lot of them are not necessarily wallflowers. They like to mingle. They like to find out new things. Geminis, kind of like Libra, they kind of just know people from all over the place. Now, the difference being Libra wants to relate to you. So Libra's going to find something that you relate to, whereas Gemini likes to share, ideas kind of back and forth. Okay. As a child, if you're thinking about like school, I'm thinking about like school. In school, like they can sometimes talk too much. Sometimes Gemini children talk too much. They don't really notice yet when to stop that, when it's the time to turn it off and when not to. A lot of them sometimes get in trouble for that, like talking too much. And then sometimes some of them can talk back. Gemini can be very sarcastic when they want to be. All right. It's kind of like that air sign wittiness that can be very sarcastic, kind of like Aquarius. But Gemini, you just have to watch. Like sometimes, now they will not have an issue when it comes to writing. Most Gemini children like to write, and so you'll see that with that subject, it's usually not a problem to get them to write. Now sometimes you have to get them to focus on what they're writing about, right? So you want to make sure like they know what they're supposed to be writing about, not just going on and on, because they're ruled by Mercury, and so they could go on and on and on. And then not like Virgo, where Virgo is related to the earth, which is practicality, which is like the logical thing you get. So Virgo's going to be more about in Taurus, more about like getting something done the way that it's supposed to get done, or as close as possible. But Gemini might have more ideas. So Gemini has really good ideas, but they have to remember to focus, because Gemini, like mutable air, sometimes struggles to focus, just like mutable fire struggles to focus. And so you can have all these ideas, but sometimes Gemini does not do things the way that they're supposed to do it, or the order they're supposed to do it, or they don't do things in a timely manner. And so with Gemini, that's something that, if you have a Gemini child or a Gemini student or whatever the situation is, like teaching them structure is important, because you don't want to take away that creative part of them, because that's equally important. But as children, especially when you're an adult, you can learn to navigate the world a little bit better. Excuse me. As a child, they kind of don't have that. So they have to learn like how to be timely, how to do things the way it's supposed to get done, and how to do what they want to do later. Excuse me. As far as children, like in the household or anything like that, Gemini doesn't like the same schedule. A lot of Geminis like to switch things up. Remember, this is a sign of duality. This is a sign of the twins. This is a sign of change, not necessarily change the same way. Cancer changes moods or changes their emotions, ebb and flow. But Gemini likes new things, and that's why Gemini is really good with like new people, because they're excited by those types of things. They're excited by new information and who can I meet, what can I learn. So in order to get them, if they're a Gemini child that doesn't like to do chores, like switch it up. Maybe they're tired of doing the same chores, so maybe you switch between them and their sibling or something. Give them something new that they haven't done before. They like a challenge as well. You know, change something up in their schedule, and then you'll probably see like they're more willing to do it, because, you know, that's kind of what they like. They get really bored very easily. Okay. You know, as far as like, some of them can be a bit rebellious at times, but it's not to the extent of other signs, children who, you know, sometimes can be really over the top and rebellious and push back a lot. It's just they like to experience things, right? And so they're going to want to learn things on their own, and sometimes Gemini doesn't listen. Children, they might not listen the way you want them to. You know, you give them advice or you tell them how to do something and they want to try it their own way. And so some of them do have to learn the hard way when it comes to that. But in general, you know, they love to talk. They're typically not a very secretive, you know, though Gemini is known for like, Gemini can twist a story. I will say that. I wouldn't say they're liars, but I will say, like, if any sign can twist a story, it's Gemini. So you really want to make sure, like, you know, teaching them to not twist the truth too much and really getting the truth out of them, because Gemini is so good at storytelling that sometimes, you know, it can weave itself into something that wasn't actually the facts of what happened. But, you know, in general, it's just about teaching them structure, because they're not naturally all going to have that. Again, look at the whole chart, because if you could have a very, very organized Gemini who has other placements in their chart, some Virgo energy, some Taurus energy. Again, you have to look at all those different things to see, you know, the different influences there. Thank you for watching.